Gillespie, former RNC chair turned oil lobbyist turned Virginia candidate for the U.S. Senate. Ed Gillespie apparently thinks minimum wage jobs are pretty awesome.
I don't support a federally mandated minimum wage. A lot of those jobs are second earners in a family. A lot of them first-time workers. The first job they've ever had is where a minimum wage job is where you learn to get to work on time. It's where you learn the great feeling at the end of a week of getting that paycheck, of knowing you gave an honest week's work. It's where you learn the social aspects of work. It's where you play on the work softball team or go out for a beer after work.
The great feeling of spending your hard-earned dough on a beer after work. A beer which, if you're making the current federal minimum wage of $7.25, might cost you exactly as much as your hourly take-home pay. But Ed Gillespie's condescension is only to be outdone by his ignorance. To begin with, minimum wage earners are not a whole bunch of teens working their first job. They are grown-ups with rent and medical bills and often families to support. According to the Department of Labor, nearly 90% of those who would benefit from a minimum wage increase are age 20 or older. The majority of them, 53%, work full-time at these minimum wage jobs, and they contribute almost half of their household's annual income. It is, on some level, probably quite difficult for Mr. Gillespie to relate to the struggles of the minimum wage earners in his state because for the most of his career, he has been a lobbyist for some of the biggest special interests in Washington, including the failed subprime mortgage giant Washington Mutual, the lobbying arm of Big Oil, the American Petroleum Institute, and a coalition of defense contractors seeking to lower corporate tax rates. Gillespie's firm also lobbied for one of the leading opponents of a minimum wage increase, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Joining me now is Counsel